This is John Fitch on the Ultimate Fight Show at 740. What was that again?
740 The Game.
Play hard.
Unscripted, unsanctioned, and unbelievable.
I don't want to see you get hurt.
We're back with The Ultimate Fight Show.
Yes, we are. We are back with The Ultimate Fight Show on 740 The Game. We have Tom, the Filthy Mauler Lawler, in studio with us. And you make a pretty good co-host, man.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to go ahead and say it's all me, though. It's also my co-hosts, David and Bry.
Well, I appreciate that, man. But you know what? We're not the ones that are dressed up like Harold. Harold Howard. That's you.
Neither am I right now. The mullet wig got to be a little too much. I'm scared the authorities are going to come looking for me, so I went ahead and took it off.
Little mistaken identity going on?
Unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, we are joined by a very special guest tonight. I'm very excited. We have Greg Jackson on the Ultimate Fight Show. What's going on, Greg? How you doing, man?
Oh, just watching everybody beat each other up. You know how it goes.
I'll tell you what, we are very excited to have you, man. You are definitely the most famous trainer in the sport today. Definitely one of the best. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I think they actually made that saying for you.
Right. No.
I don't know if
I wish that was true.
I don't know if my numbers are right, but it looks like that you've actually had 3 UFC champions come out of your camp.
Boy, I don't know. At least 2.
Yeah. Well, we got to count Andrei Arlovsky. You did some training.
Oh yeah, I just started working with him recently, though. He did all that good work before.
I got you.
Before I got to work with him. So yeah, it's. I mean, I've trained with many. I've been lucky to train many champions, but I only consider myself helping a couple of the UFC champions.
I understand. Well, I mean, just to kind of go down the list, you got St. Pierre, Rashad Evans, Keith Jardine, Nate Marquardt, Joey Villasenor, Carlos Condit. I mean, I could keep going, but I would just still be going at the end of the show. First thing I want to do is I want to just congratulate you, Greg. You're doing awesome, and I'm glad to see it, man.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, it really the fighters make me look good, and the other coaches that help me out. You know, they're much better than I am, and it's just it's a real big team effort, and I'm lucky to have them.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're kind of the Phil Jackson of the MMA world, huh? It's like you do awesome. I mean, you have some of the best fighters in the world, but it's you too, man. But you sound like...
Yeah, I get lucky. I appreciate the compliment, but it really is a team effort.
Greg, you got quite the facility over there, and man, to be honest with you, I don't even know where to start. You know, I looked at your Wikipedia today, and I came up with a list of questions, and there are just all kinds of exciting things that I know the fans out here want to know about. One of the things I wanted you to touch on right quick was something that happened recently on Tuesday. I understand that the city of Albuquerque has officially made it Jackson Winkeljohn MMA Day. Tell me about that. Tell me how that came about.
Yeah, in response to the World MMA Awards, I guess, where I got Coach of the Year and we got Gym of the Year, they gave me Greg Jackson Day and a Mike Winkeljohn Greg Jackson MMA Day. So it's one of those things that it's nice to have your city behind you, especially because MMA is so controversial. It's nice to see the city of Albuquerque kind of step up and recognize the contributions of the gym and you know, showing that, you know, we're not just a bunch of thugs. This is a legitimate sport, a legitimate art, and it can change people's lives.
Yeah, man, they really cleaned it up, I think. I mean, they've made it a legitimate sport now. It's definitely legitimate. And I forgot to introduce you to our co-host, Greg. We have Tom, the Filthy Mauler Lawler, in the studio tonight.
So, yeah, great fighter. Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Nice to get to talk to you. I've heard nothing but great things from my training partner, Seth Petrozelli.
Yeah, Seth's my man. I love him.
Yeah. I guess he's been out there a few times. Either that or he's lying to me and just laying at home with his wife.
No, not at all. We love him. He has been out a few times. We love him. He cracks me up.
Hey, Greg, did you catch Tom's last fight against Aaron Simpson? What did you think about the scoring on that?
I didn't get to see it. You know what happens is half the time I'm running around here or there, and I don't get to see all the fights that I'd like to. But I heard it was kind of a little controversial, but I didn't get much of the story on it.
There has been not just that fight, but there's been other fights recently where there's been a sort of a scoring/judging controversy, whatever you want to call it. Is there a solution, or is the system as good as it's going to get right now?
I think it's going to get better because I think it's going to be more and more education. You know, the next generation of judges are going to be, I mean, not saying these judges are bad. I don't want to go on record saying that, but I think the next generation of judges is going to have a lot more knowledge of kind of all aspects of the sport, not just one or two aspects. So I think it's going to get stronger and stronger as more and more people become legitimate mixed martial artists training in all areas, they can really judge and analyze each part of the fight as it should be. That
seemed to be the general consensus, was more education, and as people become a lot more aware of the sport and exactly what's going on in each fight, that it'd be a little bit easier to break down. You seem to be a little bit of a master of doing that. Talk to us a little bit about your personal background. Have you fought at all? I know that you have been in the game for a long time. You actually have your own form of martial art. Correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Gaido Jutsu?
Yeah, that's actually, we don't use it much anymore. We've kind of switched it. That was way back before MMA was around and legitimate. If you didn't kind of have a Japanese name on what you did, it wasn't really legitimate. And so those of us that were trying to put stuff together, it was something that I came up with when I was younger. We've since changed it to just Jackson's Mixed Martial Arts.
So do you come from a very traditional background as far as martial arts?
Actually, not really. I come from a very wrestling background, like generations. My grandfather wrestled. All my uncles wrestled. My dad wrestled. They were all either state or national champion. My little brother took state here in Albuquerque, so I come from a long line of wrestlers. And so I consider, I guess, wrestling a martial art. So in that sense, I did. And then I kind of bounced around in a lot of places and trying to figure stuff out. And because I was the only white kid in a very Hispanic community, I was, the same story that we all have. And it just kind of went from there. I had these parents that kind of were very hippie-esque and drilled into me the concept that happiness comes from helping other people. And so right around 17 or 18 or so, I opened up my own school and just teaching street self-defense stuff, got talked into all the competition stuff, going to coach. I never was really interested in the competition side of it, but my students talked me into it, and we started winning, and here I am today.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think our co-host Tom Lawler knows a thing or two about wrestling as well. I saw him perk up when you said that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, no one in my family, they all picked on me when I was a kid, but none of them will wrestle me now.
And we're speaking to Greg Jackson, UFC trainer. We also have Tom Lawler in the studio. You're listening to The Ultimate Fight Show. 740 The Game. If you want to call in, talk to us about the judging controversy, talk to Greg Jackson or Tom Lawler, you can reach us at 1-800-729-8255, or you can enter that chat room at theultimatefightshow.com. And I want to say hey to Jason. I saw you come into the chat room. Hey, Pomales, Twister, and Johnny Nyquil. We see you guys. Thanks for listening. So the other topic that we had, Greg, that we've been talking about every now and then for the past couple of weeks is some of the fighter antics that you see before and after the fights. For example, Brock Lesnar's antics after the fight, Aoki's antics when he flicked off the fighter for breaking his arm. What's your opinion of that? I mean, do you think that these fighters should stay completely professional, or do you think that there's some entertainment value to that as well?
I don't know if the entertainment value. I mean, I realize it's a business and all that stuff, but that's not really my area. To me, it's just about passion. Sometimes that passion, fighters are passionate people. Anybody that gives and sacrifices that much to be at a high level is obviously a very passionate person. Sometimes that passion can get out of control, and especially when you've won and you've worked so hard and you've got this release. And so I think it's just situations where you get a little bit out of control, a little bit beyond what maybe your composure should be. And, it's just one of those things that, it happens, and you have to give some people some leeway. I don't think that should be a part of our MMA culture, but at the same time, I'm always the first guy to try to, forgive and forget and be like, hey, he just lost his head for a minute, but I don't think he's that kind of person. And so in both of those situations, I think that, you just get amped up, you're so excited, and things can happen and things can get a little bit heated, and as long as it was just kind of a momentary lapse of reason, then I don't think it's a big deal.
And just from a fan's point of view, everybody sits and talks about how they get mad at Brock and they get mad at things like Aoki, but it's kind of like you kind of need that in the sport, I think, because you have to kind of have fighters that you don't like. So now we want Brock to lose, maybe. Now I think you kind of need the bad guys and the good guys. You know what I mean?
It certainly doesn't hurt, that's for sure. I would like to see us become not as much of that as WWF. I'm sure, like I said, the business side of it, I'm sure it really, really helps out. But the culture side, I'm sure. I hope we don't go down that road completely. Of course, you're going to be guys that you root for and guys that you don't root for. But I don't. There's so much of that anyway that I doubt that you'll need much antics